right, beautiful people. Last week we talked about writing percents as fractions. Today we're going to talk about this week we're going to talk about how to write a fraction as a percent. So we're going to go backwards. So let's start by restating that a percent is a number out of 100. So it is a fraction that's written out of 100. So the key idea is if you have any fraction, and you want to write it as a percent, you just need to write the equivalent fraction with the denominator of 100. Okay, as per usual with key ideas, with definitions, with whatever, these notes are for you. So you write it in a way that makes sense to you. If you want to abbreviate things, if you want to draw diagrams and stuff, do what makes sense to you so that you understand this key idea. And then we're going to do an example. Okay, so we'll start with something that's easy. Let's say we've got 2 out of 100. This is my fraction, 2 out of 100. Well, this fraction is already set up right. It already has a denominator of 100. Which means that the numerator is the percent. So it should equal 2%. Because again, remember, percent means out of 100. Okay, remember when you're writing these in quizzes or in IXL or in Big Ideas or whatever, to write a fraction, you're going to use that / button that's next to the question mark or underneath the question mark. And to write a percent, you're going to use the % button. It's on the number 5. So, oops. Sorry, you guys. So, percents are on the number 5, the fractions next to the question mark. Okay, so this is an example. 2 out of 100 is the same as 2%. Okay, let's do one that's a little more tricky. Let's do 15 out of 50. Okay, 15/50ths. So this is a fraction. Now I want to find it as a fraction with a denominator of 100. So I need to use what we learned about equivalent fractions at the beginning of the quarter to write this as a fraction out of 100. I know I want my denominator to be 100. So what I need to do is figure out what number will multiply 50 to get me to 100. 50 times what equals 100? Well, 50 times 2. There are 2 groups of 50 and 100, which means in the numerator, I need to multiply by the same thing. Because remember, when you have equivalent fractions, you multiply the numerator and denominator by the same number. 15 times 2. Well, maybe I don't know that, so I'm going to do 15 times 2. 2 times 5 is 10, carry the 1. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3. So this should be 30 out of 100. And now, this has a denominator of 100, which means this can equal a percent. The top number, or the numerator, is my percent. So this is 30%. Okay? All right. Let's try another one. Let's try 22 out of 10. All right. So 22 out of 10. Again, just like the last one, I want a denominator of 100. So I'm going to put a new fraction out of 100. I want to figure out my numerator to find the percent, okay? So I need to use equivalent fractions and what I know about equivalent fractions to find what the numerator is going to be. So I start by going, okay, how do I get from 10 to 100? How many groups of 10 go into 100? 10 groups of 10 go into 100, so I multiply by 10. And just like on the one before, if I multiply by 10 in the denominator, I need to multiply by 10 in the numerator. So I do 22 times 10, which I don't know, so I'm going to do it over here. 22 times 10, 0 times 2, 0 times 2, placeholder 0,